Hi everyone, welcome back to our CSEC Quadratics course. So we are now on session 12 where we are talking about solving a quadratic by factorization. Right now, this is the same thing that we did before. This is technically the second video on it. So if you're unsure about the steps that I'm taking in this one, feel free to go back to the last video and review how I solved a quadratic. And again, for people who just joined in, um, there are 11 other videos depending on what level you're starting at. Feel free to go through the videos and see where you are being confused with factorization and start over from there. Right. So again, the point of this whole course is to enable anybody to teach themselves the entirety of CSEC quadratics. Right. I'll most likely extend this to CSEC add maths quadratics as well, but for now I'm focusing on CSEC maths quadratics. So solving a quadratic by factorization. So let's say that we are asked to factorize and solve. Right now, usually they don't say factorize and solve; they just say solve. Now there are three different techniques that in which you could solve um a quadratic equation. One is factorization, the other one is what we call the quadratic formula, and the third one is what you call by putting it into vertex form first. But we will get to those momentarily, right? For now, we are just focusing on um factorizing and solving. So first one, let's go with 3m squared minus 10 um minus 13m, right, is equal to 0. Now, as I said in the last video, before you could solve a quadratic, one of the sides must be equal to 0. It don't matter if the 0 is here, if the 0 is here, but it just means that at least one side must be 0, and that's important. So if this question had started off like this, a big mistake people make is that they proceed to factorize here and then try to solve this, but that's incorrect. Right? You need to make so let's say that we given this question. What you have to do first is to make the right hand side 0 by transposing the 10. This is add 10. So to get rid of add 10, you subtract 10 from both sides. Good. And now we are looking for two numbers when multiplied, giving us a by c, which is negative 30. And when you add the two numbers, we get minus 13. So now you have to go through your factors of 30. Now, if you're unsure about this process, I did this for two videos before. I can't remember which sessions they are, but feel free to go back, all right, and you will see it. So you ignore the negative signs. Think about factors of 30. 1 and 30, that can't really combine to give you 13. 2 and 15, that could combine to give us 13 somehow, right? How could they combine? We know that 15 minus 2 is equal to positive 13, but we want negative 13. So you just switch the signs. Minus 15 plus 2. And that's it. Minus 15 by 2 is negative 30. You split up your negative 13 into these two numbers. So you get 3m squared minus 15m plus 2m minus 10 is equal to 0. Right? It don't matter which one you put first. You could have put the plus 2m first and then the minus 15. Right? So what we'll get now when we factorize 3m. 3m squared divided by 3m is m minus 15 divided by 3m is 5. Plus, from these two, 2 could divide both of them. 2m divided by 2 is m. Minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. And this will give us 0. So, we now have the common m minus 5 between both of these terms here. So this will give us m minus 5 when we withdraw it into what remains outside is 3m plus 2. And again, just to say it quickly, because I think I've seen it in every video now, if you're unsure how I went from here to here, there are videos before this one. So please go back and view them. Now, this here is the product of two terms, this bracket multiplied by this bracket, to give you 0, right? So if any two terms multiply to give us 0, it means that either the first term, which is m minus 5, is equal to 0, or the second term, 3m plus 2, is equal to 0. If you're unsure about this, we did this for the last two videos. So when we transpose the negative 5, right, this is subtract 5, so to get rid of it, you have to add 5 to both sides, or When you transpose the negative 2, it becomes 0 plus 2, which will, sorry, transpose the positive 2, it becomes 0 minus 2, which will give us minus 2. So m will be equal to minus 2 over 3. Now, I'm not going to be explaining this too much anymore because it is something that we call pre-knowledge. It's something that you all are supposed to know from before, right? So if you're unsure how I went from here to here and here to here, message me in the comments and I will try to assist you with a video that can help you solve simple linear equations. But this is it. These are your answers. For this to be equal to 10, m must be 5 or m must be negative 2/3. And that's how we do this here. All right, let's go with number 2. Let's go with um 2p squared plus minus um let's go with 14 and 3p. Good. So let's say we want to solve this now. So this is in the proper order, right? We are looking for two numbers when multiplied give us 2 by minus 14 is negative 28, and when added gives us 3. Good. So how do we do this? Again, ignore the negative sign. See what pairs or factors of 28 could add or subtract to give you 3. 1 and 28 can't add or subtract to give you 3. 2 and 14 can't add or subtract. 3 can't go into 28. What about 4? 4 by 7 is 28. And how does 4 and 7 combine to give us 3? We know 7 subtract 4. Yeah? And 7 by minus 4 is equal to negative 28. So you take your 3p and you break it up into these two numbers. It becomes 2p squared plus 7p minus 4p minus 14 is equal to 0. Don't leave out the equal to 0. If your question starts with equal to something, it has to continue. It means it is an equation. All right, so what could we do here? We could factor out p. 2p squared divided by p is 2p. 7p divided by p is plus 7. Now, if we are factoring out, 2 could divide both of them, but we are factoring minus 2. Minus 4p divided by minus 2 is positive 2p. Minus 14 divided by minus 2 is positive 7. And this is equal to 0. Now, you have your common 2p plus 7. You take out the common term, which is 2p plus 7, and you are left with p and subtract 2. So p take away 2 outside the brackets. And that's it. Now we are almost done. This is multiply in the middle of these two brackets here. So what we do is we consider that if two things multiply to give us 0, it means that either the contents of the first bracket must be equal to 0 or the contents of the second bracket must be equal to 0, right? This will give us 2p. This is add 7. So to get p by itself, first thing you have to do is subtract 7 from both sides. And then this is p multiplied by 2. So to get p by itself, it becomes minus 7 divided by 2. In add maths, you can leave this as an improper fraction. But if you are doing this for mathematics, you need to simplify this to a mixed number. So this will give us minus 3.5. And similarly, this is p subtract 2. So when it goes to the next side, through transposition, you have to add 2 to both sides. So this will give us 2 here. Right? So this is how easy it is, right? You will see, you have to practice them and you will get through them. Remember, you can feel free to pause the video at any point, try it for yourself, and then I will go through and then you play the video. So I go through the steps piece by piece so you can check for yourself to see if it is you did it correctly or not. Let's go again. Let's see if I can try to fit that probably 2 more here. Let's go with 5w squared plus 10 is equal to 0, 27w. Right, so let's see how this one here goes. We are looking for two numbers when multiplied give us what? Think it through for yourself. Think through what you're looking for here. Pause the video and think it through for yourself. So take a 10 seconds, pause the video, and see what numbers you're looking for. Right, so after that pause, you know you're looking for two numbers when multiplied give us 5 by 10, which is 50, and when added gives us 27. Right now, this could be done in your mind. right? But I am doing it physically so you could see it. Think about your factors of 50. 1 by 50, no, that can't add or subtract to give you 27. 2 by 25, that could add or subtract to give us 27. And in this order, 2 plus 25 or 25 plus 2, it don't matter, right? So 2 and 25. Good. You break up your 27W into these two numbers. So they become 5W squared plus 2W plus 25W plus 10 is equal to 0. Again, you could have put the 25W first or the 2W first. It really doesn't matter. From these two terms, what could divide both 5W and 2W? W. So W into 5W squared divided by W is 5W plus 2W divided by W is 2 plus what could divide these two terms? 5. 25W divided by 5 is 5W plus 10 divided by 5 is 2 is equal to 0. Our next step now, we want to factorize. So we take this here, we copy the common term, which is 5W plus 2. We take it outside. Imagine that you had a big bracket so and you pull that out, right? And what we remain with when we take out these two terms is just what is outside the brackets. W plus 5 is equal to 0. So what we'll end up with here now is either the contents of the first bracket is equal to 0 or the contents of the second bracket is equal to 0. And why do we do this? Feel free to go back to the last video and you will learn why, right? But this video is just a practice for the applications of the last video. So what we'll get here now, this is 5W plus 2. To get W by itself, you have to subtract W from both sides. That's transposing. Sorry, subtract 2 from both sides. And now you will end up with W is equal to both sides divided by 5 will give you 2 over 5. Or this is W plus 5. So this will give us W is equal to minus 5 as the answer. Yeah. So this is how we do these questions. Take your time and you will be able to get through with them. All right, let's do number 4, slightly easier one. Let's go with x squared plus 12 plus 7x is equal to 0. Now, this one here, has an easier way to do it, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do that in a little bit, right, in the next video. So we are looking for two numbers and multiplied, giving us A by C. Now you might think, what is A here, right? Remember, when a variable is by itself, A is 1, right? So the number in front here is not 0. This number here is 1. So 1 by 12 is 12, and when added, gives us 7. If you go through your list of factors, 1 and 12, no. 2 and 6 can't add to give you 7, but 3 and 4 could combine to give us 7. Good. Now we do the same thing as before. X squared plus 3x, you break up your 7x into those two numbers, plus 4x plus 12 is 0, which will then give us x into x squared divided by x is x, 3x divided by x is 3, plus 4 into 4x divided by 4 is x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that will give us this. Now, we copy and pull out the common x plus 3. Cut and pull out that x plus 3. Paste it outside. And imagine when you take out that x plus 3, what do we have remaining? You have this x. And this add 4 here is equal to 0. So, either our first bracket is equal to 0, the contents of our first bracket is equal to 0, or the contents of the second bracket is equal to 0. So this will now give us, when they subtract 3 from both sides, x is equal to 0 minus 3, which is minus 3, or x is equal to 0 minus 4, which will give us minus 4. And those are your two answers there. So this is how we factorize and solve a quadratic. When a is 1, there's a special way to do this one, a shortcut way. But I will get to that in our upcoming video. Right? So that will be it for this video. In the next session, we will be looking at probably a little bit more into the solving of a quadratic, right? Or we will look at a different type of factorization, right? So until I see you all in the next video, keep practicing, stay safe, and take care, everybody.